Marty Supreme Christmas Day, on Marty Supreme Christmas Day, on Marty Supreme Christmas Day, Marty Supreme Christmas Day, Marty Supreme Christmas Day. Hey, Timothy, has anything interesting happened to you in your life the last couple months? Marty Supreme Christmas Day.
I watched Marty Supreme New Year's Eve, 7 o'clock. Finally, I watched one of the most anticipated movies of the year that wasn't a blockbuster commercial brand movie, and the environment was absolutely nuts. Just not for Marty Supreme though. In fact, for Stranger Things, which I may or may not have talked about, but you guys should definitely go and watch that. But that's beside the point. Marty Supreme. Watching Marty Supreme, there were a few people in the theater, but that wasn't a bad thing at all. And in fact, that environment was really great. One of my favorites because everybody would react with distinctive and audible gestures that Josh Safdie was able to create and has done before. And it's perfect, Everybody there is entertained and engaged. And if you liked the Safdie brothers' previous movies, you'll definitely like this one. It's just a little bit longer. We'll go into it further, but I must say that there are definitely spoilers throughout, so I'll quickly rate it an 8.5 out of 10 for those who don't want to be spoiled much, but the rest is going to contain serious spoilers. And yeah, you honestly need to watch the movie to understand what I'm saying a lot of the time, which I know is irritating and stuff, but I'm not really good at explaining. It's my first time, and because it's my first time, I'm also really bad at editing, so I kind of stopped halfway because I was like, bro, this shit's annoying. So doesn't look the best, and I yap a whole bunch in the intro. This probably will not do that well, but you know what? It's fine. I'm just having fun. So here we go. And real quick, when I finished the movie, I felt like there were three things that were, a little bit okay, I would have personally changed. That's why it's not a 10 out of 10. And then there were three, really important, great things that made it an 8.5 out of 10. So I'm going to go with the bad three and then the top three. My first critique is that it felt a little bit long, honestly. It's 2 hours and 30 minutes. Uncut Gems was 2 hours and 15, and Good Time was just around 2 hours. And I feel like this could have been a 2 hour long movie. Maybe 2 hours and 10 at max. But there were two main things that could have been cut and changed. And I felt like maybe they thought they were going to do that and they didn't because it felt so off a little bit, honestly. The first one was the dude that Marty Supreme exploits for the orange balls. I feel like that was just totally used for marketing only. It didn't play a major role at all, the orange balls. And I feel like the orange balls could have made a role within the final game. Maybe he used it and that was the big marketing thing, and that's why orange balls are a thing now, is because he used it in that exhibition game for the final point. And I feel like the dude who Marty Supreme used could have been removed and could have made room for the mom, because the mom was not mentioned really at all, even though she kind of did have a little bit of importance. And some of the arcs that the dude had, housing Marty Supreme's baby mama. Instead, I feel like the mom should have housed the baby mama, as it is kind of her responsibility, and also then we could see, what the mom had to deal with Marty Supreme and how she tries to help and why there's a disconnect, and kind of see that side of the story a little bit more. The other thing that I feel like honestly could have been cut was the first game finale. The final matchup in Japan, that exhibition one, the first game was not at all needed. He already knew that he wasn't going to play in the tournament before that first game, and he was just selling out, And I feel like he should have went and done it 20-14. That way he proved to the main leader of the tournament that, hey, this was my plan. And instead he goes off script and he actually plays for his all. Because I feel like everybody knew that he was going to play his all at one point, but he just had to do that extra, shenanigans. And he already knew about the pig kissing too. He already knew about the pig kissing. So I feel like he already knew that he was going to get set up and that, he was going to be out of it. And instead he should have proved that, he was going to sell out. But no, he's more of a real player. He cares more. He is entertaining more. And he would bring something to the sport by beating that champion. If he just won the first game and he just didn't, do that extra begging and please let me play the second game just to prove his dominance. It should have been 20-14, and he pulled out the orange ball, and then he played and he won 21-20. I think that would have been perfect. I think that would have been better and would have cut a lot of time, because that final match was 15 or 20 minutes long, which was a huge chunk of the movie. I mean, I think. I don't actually know. My second critique is that the only character that felt a little bit like their motives were off, or that they were just, a little bit honestly not well written, was Gwyneth Paltrow. I feel like she knew that Marty Supreme was using her and that Marty Supreme was not a good dude and overall would have just caused mischief. But instead, she kept going along with it. And I understand that she was in a really rough spot, but some of the irresponsibilities, like having sex at a park, could have definitely been dealt with a little bit better. And I feel like just that first scene where, she goes into the hotel room to have sex with him, like, that felt a little bit rushed and a little bit off. I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like she understands, or she should understand, that she had, like, more self-worth. But instead, she kind of just kept going with Marty, which, just wouldn't have overall worked out in any world. And it just feels like a little bit of a fling when I feel like celebrities that have flings can only, like, cause trouble. And I feel like celebrities should know that. So for her to be a little bit like that is weird. But, like I said, that's the only person who I feel like was a little bit off. Everybody else was super great. And it's kind of like a half negative, half positive. But, like, yeah. The most annoying and irritating thing of all, though, is the Japan pedal. I think that was horrible. Okay? I'll paint this picture. It's a real life tournament with the highest stakes possible. And you see this new country coming in, right? And it's already like a miracle that they're there and it's already weird. And then they're breaking the rules and you just accept it. Like, that feels totally wrong to me. I feel like it shouldn't have been a pedal that he used. And it definitely was cheating in the sense that, it was not confirmed and it totally threw off Marty Supreme's game. I think that it should have been he secretly had earplugs. We know that his story is that, hey, I can block out the noise and I can channel my inner just game. But really, I mean, like, it should have been there's earplugs. No one talks about it. Marty's like, this is some bullshit. And then he can, like, come back. Because the pedal is like an obvious cheat. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that is underneath the code that no one else can use. People can use earplugs, but they just choose not to. But that is a whole new pedal. So I feel like that is a little bit off and wonky. But, beside that, I think still great movie. Great movie. That brings me to my positives, which the first one is just the pacing. The pacing is, like, perfect, beside those minor critiques I already mentioned. But, like, the intensity that follows is really great too. You know what I mean? Like, you see these crazy events happening just at the beginning alone, and you're like, wow, okay, I'm already, like, this is nuts. This is a crazy movie. And then it gets only more and more intense with higher and higher stakes, which I feel like, is something that the Safdie brothers have been able to do constantly. Sorry, I really had to burp. And yeah, I think that just, like, the ability to bring stuff that happened and, like, redo that later in the movie, you know what I mean, and have stuff come back was very, very nice. I feel like that was, like, nearly, if not perfect. I also really like the ending. I feel like the ending was, like, perfect too. I mean, like, if you really think about it, it showed that Marty Supreme has grown and that, all that matters to him is his kid. But because it's based off of another person, like a real life person, I feel like that is really great because it kind of shows that, like, this might have happened in the future. It lets fans kind of think about how they want to paint the future of Marty Supreme and what happened, because the real life person whose name is on screen, I forgot, he actually would win a couple medals, and he was a guy who would, like, use exploits and make a little bank off of people. And I feel like that's perfect because it's like it showed that, okay, this was a real dude and this is what it, like, based around. And, like, if you want to say, yeah, he won a whole bunch of tournaments afterwards, you can think that. If you want to think that he just quit and he just worked with his baby mama and his baby, like, that's great too. But to not, like, show, like, into the future is something that, it's kind of like a cheat code, I feel like. Like, it's a really easy thing to do and something that would satisfy a lot of people. But this one didn't feel, like, out of the ordinary or rough, and it was actually something different, which I like. My last positive, which, is kind of basic, and you'll probably hear it a lot, and, you probably already know it, but it's just, like, a movie about ping pong was, like, not just about ping pong, and that's, like, super great. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I like ping pong, and I think it would have been cool, if, like, throughout the movie, like, every 10 minutes there was a new ping pong thing, I think it would have been a little bit like, okay, we get it. But the main ping pong, parts happen at the beginning with the first tournament and then the end, with a little bit of training in between, but we already show that like he has natural talent, and we already know like he's really damn good. So instead of just showing like practice, practice, practice all the time, or have everything be about ping pong, you know what I mean? They were able to take those side ventures into getting the money and working and personal relations that didn't like that actually probably occupied like 70% of the movie with only 30% about ping pong. And yet it'll be labeled as a ping pong movie, and it will always be seen as a great ping pong movie because that is what it ultimately is. It's just like extra, you know what I mean? Like there's extra to it that many other people again cannot do. Like I really want to talk about how great like the Safdie brothers are. I know this one was just Josh, but like it's really fucking good. Like they are 3 for 3, banger, banger, banger. It's insane. That's all I really gotta say. Make sure to subscribe so I can keep on doing these fun little reviews. Hopefully you enjoyed and hopefully you agreed a little bit. Comment down below anything that you disagreed with or your thoughts. I'll hopefully reply to everybody because I want to create that environment, and I also want to learn. You know what I mean? Like my thoughts always for a movie or music, especially, or a TV show, change heavily really all the time, but especially on first watch, you know? So if there are things that you can go into more detail about or, prove to me, I would love to hear it. Thank you.